Namaste, everybody. Vanakkam and Namaskar. Welcome to the Kshetra, our very first episode. We have Maipur Chandra here in our studio, one of our resident devotees here at Shiva Kshetra.
And
And
you are?
I am Ramoshna. um, so I'm sure most of you who follow us on Facebook would be familiar with Maipur Chandra. He's featured on a few of our videos. But I think today we deserve a little more formal introduction and maybe tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you. Not that much. I'm not that much of an interesting person, but for the sake of introduction, we can say something. I come from an Afrikaans background. I grew up in a typical Afrikaans community, went to an Afrikaans primary school, high school, just a normal South African Afrikaans boy. When I was about 17, I started becoming really interested in the deeper questions and looking for purpose and so on. Christianity didn't really fit my worldview or my natural understanding of things. From a young age, I had a natural understanding of reincarnation and was particularly reincarnation. It just was my understanding of how life worked, and asking many questions. And eventually, I ended up going to university and studied philosophy. I did drop out of university because I wasn't satisfied with the philosophy, particularly the philosophy syllabus, and I ended up going and looking. Many things happened. I traveled a little bit, and eventually I joined the Hare Krishna ashram in Durban. Many of you might know it. It's beautiful, very transcendental, spiritually charged place as well. And I eventually stayed in the ashram for about 8 or 9 years. That was in 1999. I joined in June. Since then I've left. I've ventured a little bit more into different types of businesses, because if you leave the temple, oftentimes, if you join young like I did, I was 20 when I joined the temple, I didn't have any work experience. I didn't think about it at that time. But I ended up trying different things, but always got to do with farm communities, self-sufficiency, and an alternative way of living. This was always my goal, really, since the first time I read the Bhagavad Gita. Right now, so I'm married and happily married, and we are living here at Shiva Kshetra. I work during the week, so I'm not here every day of the week. Ramashna is here every day. I work on farms. I'm an advisor to the management of 2 farms. One is an organic farm and one is a conventional farm. Honestly, my heart lies with the organic side of it. It's very exciting, and I can say that we get much better results. Initially, it cost a little bit more, but now we are reaping in leaps and bounds, reaping the results of growing organically. So this is where I am at right now, and yeah, thank you very much, and nice to meet all of you.
So, after listening to your background, I mean, I know it pretty well, but every time I hear it again, I learn something new. How does all of your background and the knowledge that you've accumulated over the years and your experiences fit in here at Shiva Kshetra?
Fits in beautifully. Yeah. So CJ is an extraordinary person. CJ is the owner of the property and the visionary behind what's going on here. I've known CJ for maybe 16 or 18 years, something like that. Quite a while I've known CJ. but I'm getting to know him better and better, and he's just a very wonderful person. And we've always had that connection when it comes to self-sufficiency, working in the gardens and really working with nature. I've always been interested in CJ's approach, which is one of working with the nature spirits, working with the devas, and working with the higher consciousness of the garden. And in that way, trying to achieve more than just sort of eating, but actually in becoming sort of, I guess you could say, one with nature, which we all are, but we forget. And he gets guidance. So he
sort of,
invites
reciprocation.
Yes.
With
Yes.
nature.
Yes. You know, if you're going into any situation, we have to remember that we share the space, right? So most people don't acknowledge that. We don't share the space. Now, if I'm coming into your house, or even if we go into someone else's house together and we share the space, and I don't acknowledge you, and I just do what I want, and I don't actually acknowledge how would you like it? How can we do this together? You know, I don't acknowledge what you bring to the table. You know, I'm just here to bulldoze my way through. That's not the ideal way. It works. It could work,
Well,
but
I
it could
guess
work a lot better.
especially Mother Earth is so forgiving and so compassionate that we get away with.
Yes,
um,
because
being
we
a
are
bit
her
selfish.
children. We are the children of the earth.
Yes.
So she is tolerant. It said that Mother Earth can tolerate anything except for a liar, which is
Wow.
interesting. Yeah, that pains her too much.
And you know, I'm just thinking, you know, from what you were just speaking about now, I quickly want to go off the topic a little bit, and we just need to remember to come back to it.
Yeah.
We had a conversation not long ago, a few days ago, regarding human beings, because I was speaking to actually Maria, our lady of the shop, our lovely lady of the shop, and we had a conversation regarding animals and our lovely cows. And anyway, the conversation got somewhat deep, and we were speaking about how animals just know how to live. They don't do anything that's against their nature and against the nature, you know. And the only creatures on this planet that go against nature is the humans. And we were wondering, you know, so what is our purpose here? Because if we are naturally inclined to be different to the animals and plants, and you know, and we have ambition, and you know, that sometimes goes against nature, and you know, why is it so? I mean, we were created by God, but how come we are so different to? And another thing, you know, an important point I heard once before, that the earth can carry on without humans. If any other creature is taken out of the ecosystem, there will be an imbalance. If any plant, you know, is, you know, every time there's plants or animals that go extinct, it's a big problem. We all hear about it. It makes headlines and
Gone forever.
gone forever, yes. And it makes a difference to the ecosystem, right?
Yes.
But apparently,
Like if bees,
yes,
if there were no more bees, if there were no earthworms, if there were no more flies or rats, even those kind of things,
yeah.
no, we'd have big problems.
But
Very big.
if there were no humans, everything will carry on quite, in fact, probably better. So what would you say from, you know, all your
Wealth of wisdom.
exactly.
No,
Well,
I don't have
think-
that, but this is something I have thought about a lot, and this has really been a large part of my inspiration behind the eco-village concept, and she knows it already. But
I love hearing it again.
okay, so the whole idea is, right, each species of life on this planet has a purpose, and we don't seem to have a purpose. But this is something that's even in the Bible, actually, and it's throughout the Vedas, and I think maybe all the scriptures of the world will agree with this, that human beings are the spiritual species. This is our purpose, right? So you can try to do, you can try to drink soup with a fork. You'd get some taste. You get a little bit of an idea, but you're not going to actually be very successful. Take a spoon, and even better, a soup spoon, and you will be able to drink the soup very nicely. So something has to be used for its purpose. Our purpose is to be the spiritual species. Wherever you go around the planet, wherever there are human beings, there's one thing in common, and that is the search for the divine. So my way of saying it, I say, you used the word earlier, is ambition, right? Human beings have ambition. This is something interesting, because ambition means to want more than what is readily available, in a sense, right? So we want to go beyond what we have now, and that ambition is that's our best and our worst quality. It is our worst quality because we're destroying the planet and we're destroying each other's lives very often. We become very selfish because we have this lack mentality. So ambition born out of lack is not very good.
Leads to exploitation.
It leads to exploitation. But ambition to transcend, and ambition to transcend the material existence and connect with God, that type of ambition is wanted. That ambition leads to love and abundance. So our purpose on this planet, according to my understanding, and I would say most of the scriptures, or maybe all, is to actually be the spiritual guides on this planet. Human beings who are now the scourge of the earth, the cancer on the planet, are actually the greatest boon. We are the most wonderful thing. But we are not serving our purpose.
We're misusing our
So when we do that,
gifts.
when Dharma prevails, when we live according to the laws of the universe and we practice spiritual life, all living entities get blessed by the presence of human beings. This is the thing. We have that wonderful gift, that wonderful ability, but we're not using it. And therefore we are waging war and complaining about the price of bread and all these different things, which are a reality to us, but just sort of like living in a very, very tiny existence.
So here at Shiva Kshetra, we obviously working towards, it's a work in progress. We're working towards getting off the grid completely. We're almost there. And maybe explain to our viewers how that works in terms of, there's a lot of eco-villages, not a lot, well, there are several eco-villages out there. Not all are spiritual.
Yes.
You often hear of eco-villages failing, but generally the ones with the spiritual foundation tend to be more self-sustainable, So maybe we can just talk a little bit about that.
Okay, what's happening here? So, well, there's a few things we do. Okay, we've got a lovely garden which we should put more attention into. But we do have a garden which we do get food from. Then our water on the farm, all our water is from a spring on the property, which incidentally runs under Lord Shiva.
Divine water.
Yes. We drink it, we shower in it, also do other things in it, unfortunately, but that's going to change maybe one day. But this is our water, and that gets pumped up. So we do have a solar system. It's not 100% yet. We need to add to it. We, as money comes into the project, then we add and add and add.
It's growing.
So We have a solar system, but it's not 100% off the grid. But that obviously pumps our water up to the top, and then it's gravity fed. We have the cows now. We are planning to build a what they call in India gobar gas, which is a methane gas plant that you can make from cow dung, which you can cook with, and you can even run your geysers with it, because we have gas geysers here. And there are ways that we can actually bottle it, which is amazing. I've been looking into it. And we have a small community, so we all have our duties here. We each sort of know what we're doing, and we contribute in different ways. I would say very much CJ is still the pivot, you know, the hub, the center of the community, because everything runs around his vision. Although it's interesting because not everyone has the same spiritual background or even the same spiritual understanding, but we do
have some cohesion.
There's cohesion there, and everyone does have faith, definitely, that CJ's guides are quite accurate, even though we don't follow. We see it practically. so that's there. Yeah. So I guess that's where we're heading at. There's exciting things that we want to do in the future, you know, and you know, if you look at different aspects of self-sufficient of life, you know, it's like food and shelter, obviously the initial important thing. Then there's health. Food, shelter, and health are the very basics. And then there's other, like, you know, Maslow's hierarchy. And then we need to look security and being inspired and some sort of education and improving ourselves. All of these things are aspects of what we'd like to do in the future. But there's so much to talk about, and we can't talk all in one episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still have to hear about you.
So that will come in the next episode. So it'll keep everyone waiting. Watch this space. But that was very interesting, Mayapur. I'm sure the viewers, I hope this piqued their interest for those that maybe are not so familiar with eco-villages and living sustainably. Yeah. Because, and I'll say, I'll, you know, coming from someone who didn't know too much about it before I met you, and then just kind of meeting you and then suddenly being fast-tracked on this journey. And initially it didn't make sense. Some things grossed me out, some things freaked me out, and I almost thought, ooh, wait a moment, I'm not sure if this is going to work, because I don't know if I can, if I resonate with this. But I gave it a chance, and the reason I say this is because if I could have given it a chance, I think most people would be able to get it if they just gave it a chance.
Yeah. So I think, well, what we can take away from here maybe is that, you know, people come here and we see the temple, and it's a very divine, wonderful place. You know, so the temple is really the heart of our project and our mission and the property, and it is way beyond us. It is much bigger than us. And we all see it like that. We are just simply servants of Lord Shiva here.
They're just like passing through.
Yes.
And this is going to be
but the point is that there is much more going on, and we'd like more people to get involved in the other aspects of what we're doing here as well. So maybe this is an opportunity for people to think about it, maybe, like you said, pique people's interest. Yes. And start inquiring. Some people might have been thinking along the same way. Some people might have contributions to make, you know, because they've already been sort of on this path, on this journey for a while. The reality is that material life, as Srila Prabhupada used to say, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, material world is no place for a gentleman or a gentle lady. So that is the reality of it. But we have to make the best use of a bad bargain. And that best use, we have to think very carefully what that means, because it has to be the best for the most people, not just the best for me, the best for the most people. And we have to start this conversation There's so many wonderful, intelligent people out there, and we hope that we can actually interact with those people.
Yeah, and just reach out to us. You can call us, you can message us on Facebook, you can even comment after this video is uploaded. Reach out. Coming here, visiting Shiva Kshetra, taking your pictures with Lord Shiva is all good and well and beautiful. But see if there's any opportunities. Maybe there's some kind of service that you can offer. And, never look at anything as menial.
Just ask. You never know. Just ask us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're getting to directly serve the Lord. And that is one of the most, one of the greatest gifts. It doesn't come by chance. It's just a little bit of endeavor and maybe a little bit of desire from your side. And then the Lord gives us reciprocation when we have some desire and, some willingness to serve. And then He reciprocates and He gives us the opportunity to serve Him. And that is absolutely, well, I can't say anything, no other word but divine. And you feel it. And as I said, there's no service that's too menial. In fact, I personally feel the more menial the service is, the more you connect. Because you take all the
ego.
Thinking, the ego, the thinking, because when you're doing something more what's the word I'm looking for? Complicated, right? If you're doing something more complicated, you tend to think too much. Sometimes your focus gets shifted, and you forget that you're actually doing service. But
well, I think both are there. This is my opinion, right? Because I think what can happen, and this is just my experience, right? That you can take on a very complicated task for the Lord, right? But if you let go and let the inspiration flow, then it is the same thing. Some people call it like the flow state or whatever it is, because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, from me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness, right? So if we try to do it by our own capacity, and this is a very interesting other conversation we can have in another time, what our capacity is, and if you are intelligent, you are strong, you are this and that, is it you or what is it actually? How does all of that work? But that's a whole nother conversation. Service is service, I think, and whatever capacity anyone wants to get into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the nectar is always there.
I think my point is that we shouldn't
feel that anything is too small or too big.
To underestimate, maybe going and pulling a few weeds or asking us, can I scrub this little 1 meter square of tiles, Not that, we are here to do all of that, but if you engage in that service...
It's a privilege.
It's a privilege, and you really connect. That time that you spend serving the Lord is this kind of meditation that goes way beyond the mind.
Yeah.
And you connect on a very deep level, and you feel so grateful that the Lord is giving you this opportunity, and He comes alive in those moments,
This is karma yoga, right? So this is, we have these bodies, we have these minds. What you gonna do? Right? What you're gonna do is you're gonna use it. You're gonna use it in the service of God, what it was intended for. And when you do that, you can become happy. I always use the example. I think Prabhupada gave that example of the fish out of water. When the fish is out of water, I think probably everyone has seen a fish out of water, gasping. There's air everywhere, but he can't breathe it, So next time we'll discuss that.
I think our battery is kind of cueing us to close
That's it.